are far worse things waiting, man, than death.
You will be scared shitless.
Good evening. This is S. Michael, and with me, as always, is
Erin Dawn.
Slinky Giallo.
And we are the Scared Shitless podcast, coming to you not live. I have exciting news, though. We're going to have our first guest for season 2 on the program. Mr. Adam Marcus has agreed to appear on the show next week. And so we're going to talk about, his favorite horror movies and, his general thoughts on the genre itself. But of course, we'll be talking about Jason Goes to Hell, which is way higher on my list than it is on most Friday the 13th fans' lists.
Mike.
Oh, there we go.
And also his holiday horror movie, Secret Santa, which is a lot of fun. It's a lot. It's like Jason Goes to Hell. It's a lot of fun. He knows his way around both horror and comedy. So very
Love
much
it.
looking forward to that. And you guys have had him on before as a guest, right?
Yeah, we had him on. We did have him on Manic Movie Monday, and it was just it was actually me and Slank.
3 of us, and then that was that was Manic Movie Monday. Yeah, we know Adam Marcus.
We know him. He's wonderful. I'm excited, and I love Secret Santa. I absolutely can't wait to talk about Secret Santa because I love the utter just the dysfunctional family stuff, and everything is so good.
You have to watch that every year for Christmas.
We do. That's our Christmas watch now.
Okay. And it's a lot darker than it seems on the surface. I mean, once you get to the end, it's like, oh, damn. So
yeah. And I hope he hears this, but Adam Marcus is a very genuinely kind and awesome person, because when I started my horror channel years ago, he was goodly enough to come on, and he hung out for like 3 episodes, man, while we were like working kinks out, figuring out how the delay worked and stuff. It was really fun. So Adam's a great guy. Yeah.
I'm super excited because I think I told you guys about this. I stumbled across a drawing that he did of Paul Williams, who I'm going to meet and get a photo with in July.
Very
And
cool.
I saw Adam's drawing, and of course it was gorgeous. So he also, on top of being a fun director and just all around awesome horror guy, also draws really, really well. So
his art is amazing. Yeah.
So he agreed to. What I did was I sent him my copy of Hearts of Darkness, the behind the scenes documentary of Jason Goes to Hell. He's going to sign that for me, and then send me his drawing to have signed by Paul Williams, which I'll send back to him. So very excited about all that. But tonight's movie is iconic. Okay, that's the number one thing I can say about it. It launched the career of Mr. Mickey Rourke. It is still to this day considered one of Robert De Niro's most interesting and finest performances. And I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years, but this was a virgin viewing for me. What movie are we doing tonight, and why?
We are doing 1987's Angel Heart, directed by Alan Parker, starring Mickey Rourke, Lisa Bonet, and Robert De Niro, as well as Charlotte Rampling as well.
And why are we doing this movie, Erin Dawn?
I chose it because it plays upon one of my darker fears, which is identity. And well, we'll get to that because spoilers, kids. But so this was a virgin viewing for you, and my first time watching this movie was as part of a project I was doing. I was auditing a screenwriting course at University of South Florida, and I was roughly 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. I was allowed to audit the class because the teacher was my voice teacher at the time. So he let me come in and audit the class. And that was one of the assignments. We had we watched Double Indemnity, and Angel Heart was a big one. And it was to study the screenwriting.
Shit.
All right, we are back. I will edit all that stuff together. But as you were saying?
Nope.
Middle class, you watch Angel Heart, you like it because of identity stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we covered all that. So, but yeah, I love it. It's in my top 20, and that's I do, however, recognize that Mickey Rourke in the 80s is very one note. You know, he plays the same role. He played the same role in Wild Orchid as he played in 9.5 Weeks, as he played in this movie, as he played in Barfly. So Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, yeah. But I can't compare his stuff like with The Wrestler or any of his later stuff or like Sin City, because those are movies I'm not particularly familiar with. So I can't say. I mean, I'm sure
I can say about Sin City.
Yeah,
I can talk about that.
Well, he was
All right,
definitely
so-
pretty. He was a pretty man. Was being the key word. I don't know
Was.
what
Woo.
happened, but my goodness, a cautionary tale for you
Buddy,
Botox
what
fans
a
out there.
plastic surgery nightmare he was. Good God.
Yeah, he and Axl Rose could be brothers now, but
It's bonkers, the weird moon face they both have. So, but, and I mean, and I am probably in the minority in this room, but like, I do like De Niro's performance as the devil. Like, I like him as I think he's gross and uncomfortable. And when
He
you,
eats the egg, man. That's the only.
that's not why. No, I just find him very uncomfortable, but also very measured in his way of speaking. And not, there's a line in there where he said, would it be different if I had horns and a tail? And he, because he doesn't really believe that he's the devil, so.
yeah.
But and then I remember the Lisa Bonet controversy back in the day, because I'm a child of the 80s, and I remember how, the cause was very upset that she had done this film and dirty sex scene featuring her as a, as a person of color, as he put it, and a white man, and that made her like a voodoo priestess and all this kind of shit. Cause was not happy with that. Apparently that was not okay. But
the
sexual
other
assault
stuff he was up to at the time
was well within his comfort zone.
Right.
So yeah. And I'm gonna hand this over to Slink because he has a different opinion of this movie.
No, I don't. I like the movie. I grew up with this movie. It came out in the 80s. For some reason, the summer of 1990, Showtime or HBO used to show Serpent and the Rainbow, and they used to show Angel Heart, like back to back. And that's when I caught it. And I watched both of them way too fucking young. I love this type of movie because I like that Southern Gothic decay. I like that stuff. I like seeing, noirish gumshoes. I like this stuff. But it's just Mickey Rourke's a dork, and I'm not a big De Niro fan, like at all, and I'm gonna take some heat for it, and I don't care. Come at me, dog. He acts. I'm not gonna bring the room down. I'm just gonna say they act the fucking same in everything, and that's it. And this is no exception. But it's great. I love the visuals. I like the dirty alleys that he runs down. It's fucking cool, man. I even said to her earlier, the freight elevator. That's such a cool elevator, man, and they utilize it every chance they get. And then you said, is the elevator to hell? So good. But just the performances take me out. But that's it. Dude, solid fucking movie, dude. Yeah.
And also, Sling pointed out something very interesting, which I didn't really pay attention to upon other watches, but that the sort of opening 15 minutes, like 15 to 20, like the exposition of it and everything, where Harry is, doing his gumshoe thing.
Yeah, his gumshoe
thing. Clunk. It does tend to run a little slower. Because he's gathering information, so it does tend a little bit more slow. It actually, like I say, shit kicks out when he ends up in Louisiana. Like, it is game on, motherfuckers. Like, it's fantastic, and people are dying left and right and having crazy sex, and there's
movies where when you watch it, you can't feel anything, but you can tell it's hot as fuck when you watch this movie.
Yeah.
So it's really cool in that respect. 'Cause
So
you're just like, God damn it, Mike's warm.
the weather plays a huge role in
Weather is
this.
its own character.
You're so bad. But no, the weather plays a huge role too, because like when you're in New York with him, it's gray
It's like
and
7.
snowy and cold and gross. Like it's not like winter wonderland type cold. It's like dirty. It's dirty snow, dirty snow. And then when you're in Louisiana, obviously it's hot and sweaty and just,
the thing is,
you know,
when they're in Louisiana, the sun's out and it's really bright, but it's still fucking scary. That's what's cool about it. Like even it's like watching Midsommar. Like it's bright as hell, but it's still terrifying.
things are still happening.
There's still a lot of fuckery afoot, man. So it's the weather's awesome in this movie. Really like the environment.
All right, Sims, take us.
Well, so my general impression, first time watch all the way through, is that it is clunky. There are some editing issues. There are some things that I found out were cut, like 5 or 6 scenes that were cut from the movie, that would have added layers, that would have explained who certain characters were better. And so as I was watching it, I had a little bit of a hard time keeping up with who was who exactly, and what he was supposed to be working on and what location he was going to. And I was taking notes as I was watching. And there were several times where I was like, where is he at now? And why is he there? You know, but that's my general first impression of the filmmaking aspect of it. The horror aspect, which is why we're here, people. This is a beautiful film, and
it's
it
so
does
good.
everything right. I mean, it hits all the notes that we talk about, the revulsion, the terror, the horror. It's all there. So I'm excited to dive into this with you guys. And I guess, Erin, if you want to start us at the beginning.
Absolutely. So we open with a very kind of grimy alleyway, you know, in the snow. And we find out that Harry Angel is a private eye who works in a shitty office with no secretary.
Saxophone playing constantly.
Yeah, with a saxophone playing constantly. And he gets hired by a law firm called Winesap and McIntosh, which are both apples. Interesting. And they tell him, you know, hey, come meet us, including my my employer, Louis Cypher, or Cypher. And they say, you know, come meet us at this church. We have an office that's inside the church. And he goes into the office, and there is a funeral downstairs that's going on, and he kind of noses around a little bit, and Winesap tells him, you know, yeah, that was a very tragic case where one of the parishioners killed himself. And there's something very uncomfortable about the fact that this woman is just sitting there just scrubbing blood off of the walls in a very like nonchalant, you know, like this is what I'm doing.
You get the feeling that the guy may not have killed himself after all.
Blood all over that fucking room.
Yeah, in fact, there is a theory about this character that got brought up on Reddit. And I will discuss it later when we reveal, like, you know, the big secret with the movie. Anyway, he gets hired by Winesap and McIntosh, as well as Louis Cypher, who is played by Robert De Niro. De Niro is he's got long, creepy, pointy nails, which really, like, it's crazy because it kind of costs extra in the Village, those nails. Yeah. And he's got, you know, he's sort of he's got like the slick back hair and stuff, and he's, you know, he's a businessman. And he tells Harry, you know, he says, I am looking for a person named Johnny Favorite. He was a crooner back in the wartime, and we had a contract. He did not honor it. I need you to go find him. And so thus begins.
Yeah, so
this-
I'm sorry, you mentioned wartime, and it took me a second to figure out what era we were in, but this takes place in the 50s.
Yes, this takes
So
place
they
in
would-
1955, specifically New York City, 1955, and in Brooklyn. Yes, take a shot every time Mickey Rourke says, "I'm from Brooklyn," because you're gonna be drunk.
You're gonna get
So basically, what Mr. Saphir says specifically is, I have a contract, and the person who had the contract with me, Johnny Favorite, whose name was Johnny Liebling back in the day. He went to war, got injured, remained a vegetable. I need a signed affidavit that he's alive or dead. He's like, because someone's lying to me, and I think he's very much alive, but you need to find him. So then we see what kind of person Harry Angel really is, because on the surface, he does some nice things, holds the door open for people. He picks up a hat that falls off a woman. He's kind of slightly charming, but there's this slime
Yeah, he's very grimy.
about him. He's very sleazy private eye guy,
yeah, I noticed he had no problem breaking and entering.
He had
getting records on false pretenses, that sort of thing. So
he goes into this hospital where Johnny is being, quote, kept, and he runs into Kathleen Wilhoit from Witchboard.
She's awesome. She's still cool.
Who I fucking love as the nurse.
Said to you, I said, now the good actors show up.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I love me some Kathleen Wilhoit. So anyway, he runs into her and he says, hi, I'm from the National Institution for Health. And he has, if you look in his wallet, he's got all of these different like assumed identities. And this film is really about people who are living under the pretense of different identities. Everyone has a different name. Obviously Louis Cypher, we'll get to that later. But, he's learning that, so-and-so is also called so-and-so. And this person is also called this person. And Harry Angel is no exception to this, because in his billfold, he has all of these different licenses that, like a press, there's like a press license, there's, and there's a National Institution for Health license, and they all have different names. So he is used to, basically playing somebody else, right? So he gets in there and, sleazes his way into getting the file, the chart on Johnny Favorite, looks in it and notices that somebody has written in ballpoint pen, folks, a different, like a date at the very bottom. It says he's transferred December of 1943. And it's like this fresh ballpoint pen, which if you notice, everything else is in black. And that's the only thing that's in blue. Notices at the bottom, this was signed off on by a Dr. Fowler. He says, does Dr. Fowler live around here? Yes, he does. Great. Yes, has zero problem doing a B&E. Zero problem. And gets in there and notices that Dr. Fowler has a wee bit of a morphine problem. And when Dr. Fowler finally comes home, he says, hey, I'm looking for this person. And, and Dr. Fowler says, oh, I vaguely remember treating somebody by that name. So already he's kind of getting stonewalled in a lot of ways. And you can kind of tell that he's not 100% invested in this. He's just he's kind of going through the motions. He's getting paid, obviously. You get the idea that he doesn't get a lot of work, really. Or that the work he does get is kind of grimy, because he does have a connection over at the New York Times, a female that he clearly fucks for information. So it's not on the up and up, if you will. And anyway, so he talks to Dr. Fowler, and Dr. Fowler says, hey, look, I don't know anything about him. All I know is one night, somebody came, they paid $25,000 and said they were taking him home. taking him down south. That was it. So he says, all right, well, I need more information than that. I'm going to go have a burger and a smoke down at the cafe, and I'm going to leave you locked in a bedroom, and hopefully your jonesing for your morphine will jog your memory. And then he comes back and in the locked bedroom, and Dr. Fowler has blown his brains out.
Through the eye.
Through the eye. Through his eye. Yeah.
That's an unusual way to kill yourself. Shoot yourself in the head through the eye.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I was like, okay, so immediately, what's interesting is immediately he starts acting as though he's a criminal. He starts wiping down everything. He wipes down the gun. He wipes down the bullets. He wipes down the bed. He wipes down everything that he can see. And then, leaves and goes and has breakfast. And by breakfast, we mean hard-boiled eggs with Louis Cypher. Oh, shit. Swoops, kids. Sorry about that. Louis. He goes and has a little breakfast with Louis.
Yes, and this is the iconic scene from the movie that they showed in all the commercials.
He's eating hard-boiled eggs, which is so offensive to me anyway. And and he says, there's some religions that believe that the egg is the soul. And then he just shoves it in his mouth. Because he's nasty. And he says, well, that's interesting. I'm going to pay you $5,000, which ends up being like something like $25,000 or $50,000 today's money, right? And he says, I'm going to pay you $5,000 to find him. Just find him. If you don't find him, whatever, fine, no harm, no foul. And this would probably be the moment, especially since it's lined up to make him look like he's being framed for murder at this point. It would probably be the moment where an intelligent person would walk away from this and just be like, bro, I'm not into this at all. But the money, right? So it's kind of interesting because it's like Johnny Favorite really wanted to be famous and Harry really wants money. So he does meet a strawberry blonde for a drink and a fuck, and she gives him some information. She gives information. The information basically is that Johnny Favorite used to play in a jazz band called the Spider Simpson Orchestra with a guy named Toot Sweet. Toot Sweet's down in Louisiana, and the person that came and took Johnny or whatever was Ethan Kuzmark and Margaret Kuzmark. So then he goes and finds another group of people to talk to. And at this point, like I said, he's gathering information. This is a very clunky information search. I'm just throwing it out there. Strawberry blonde, naked, titties out, notwithstanding. The actual fact-finding mission that he goes on is kind of like, it's a little boring. There's a lot of flashbacks in this movie where Harry flashes back to different things. One of them is a soldier celebrating on New Year's Eve. One of them is a stairwell that he can't see where it leads. Elevators, a freight elevator specifically, a really beautiful freight elevator. And these flashbacks that he's seeing, and this all leads him to Louisiana. He goes to Louisiana so he can find Margaret Kuzmark, who presumably was Johnny Favorite's girlfriend at one point. So he gets over there and kind of chases her down a little bit, but she's a debutante. She's this very put together woman. She's very well dressed, very well spoken, speaks both French and
psychic.
And different things. So
cool.
And that's the lovely Miss Charlotte Rampling, and he goes in there kind of under the guise of like, I want to get my palm read by you. Yeah. So, and there's a scene where her maid comes in and asks her in French, should I bring out the good cups? And she says no, because she knows that this guy's up to no good, period. She knows Harry Angel is not a good person. So, like she asked for his birthday. He says February 14th, 1918. She said, that's interesting. I know somebody with that same birthday. And he's like, oh, wow, maybe we have the same, he says, maybe we have the same future or whatever. And she's like, no, I don't think so. Kind of blows him off and basically just tells him, she's like, yeah, you're, who are you really? Right. And he's like, I'm a PI trying to find out this guy. Where is he? And then he kind of hits him. He doesn't kind of hit on her. He hits on her. He's sleazy as fuck. And he hits on her. And he says, he says, well, I don't know what kind of guy Johnny Favorite was, but if he let you go, it's just whatever.
Cue saxophone music, yeah.
He's so gross. Anyway, so then he goes to what would we describe this as? Like a witch shop. Like a shop where they sell herbs.
Curiosities,
yeah.
It's weird. It's literally a witch doctor shop. It's literally a voodoo priest.
A voodoo priest store. Yeah, sure. And I'm sure there's tons of them in the Louisiana area. Nolans. And she says, there's this person I'm trying to find, and they were not related to, but they knew someone named Evangeline Proudfoot. And they say, well, yeah, Evangeline Proudfoot got sick and died. And that's all they tell him. So he goes to Evangeline Proudfoot's grave, and who is to show up but Denise Huxtable? She shows up and with a little baby, and goes over and puts an offering on the grave of tobacco and rum. Actually, it's bread.
Is it bread? Okay.
And then
bread and rum.
There's some rum. Yeah.
There's some clear liquid over there.
One for my homies, yes.
Yeah, and when she pours one out for her homie. Yeah. Absolutely. And then here's the thing. Then Mickey Rourke just gets super gross. Follows her to a fountain where she washes her hair, and he just stares at her. And interesting,
he's creeping on her too. He ducks down and shit, and he's looking at her from behind a tree. So it's creeper mode.
He's in creeper mode. And I like it that he wears this he got this disguise that he got at the beach when he was interviewing somebody, and it has the nose guard on it and the glasses and stuff. And when he first approaches the toddler screams at him, and she looks, and he's like, oh no, and he takes it off, and he tries to sell, no, this is just a thing that I bought at the beach or whatever. And and she looks at the baby and she goes, stop crying. And he stops crying. It's good baby acting. So he talks to her, and and her name's Epiphany, and she's pretty tight-lipped. She's pretty much I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. She's like, my mom knew lots of men, and she was into that. She was a very popular with the guys. And he says, well, do you know Toot Sweet, this guitarist? He's supposed to be this blues guitarist, and he's really good. I'm going to go see him in concert tonight, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, nope, never heard of him. So there's a lot of just keep stonewalling, but there's also a lot of just identity stuff in this movie where he's just nope, I don't know who that is, convenient,
selective memory.
Memory. Thank you, honey. Selective memory. Anyway, he does go to the blues club. He does meet Toot Sweet, who is fabulous. And Toot Sweet says, you get one of them twin sisters cocktails, you can write whatever the fuck you want. Because he's asking him questions, and he's like, you a dick or a book writer? Being like, are you writing a book, or are you investigating? And He's like, oh, neither. I'm a journalist. And I was like, dickhead, that's, well, okay. So, so he says that. But by the way, if anybody is interested in what this Twin Sisters cocktail recipe is, it is a half an ounce of light rum, a half an ounce of spiced rum, 1 dash of lime juice, 1 dash of Coca-Cola, shake with ice, strain into shot glass, best served in a shot glass. So yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, so he basically tells him, he's like, look, I'm busy. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know any of these people. He's like, I think I remember Johnny Favorite. He played on one of my albums. Doesn't make him a friend. Goes into the bathroom to take a piss and finds a chicken foot.
Because we're just going to throw this out there right now. Spoilers, kids. For some reason, Mickey Rourke has a straight up fucking fear of chickens. Like, I don't mean he's just like, oh, look, it's a chicken. I mean, he's scared of these cocks. He's really scared of fucking wild cocks.
He
tells everybody, I don't like chickens, man.
Yeah, he literally tells it. Yes, that's another drinking game that you can play with Angel Heart. Is every time Mickey Rourke says, I got a thing about chickens, then take a shot, get your two sisters cocktails, get ready. And
some of that feather of the bird.
Oh man. So he follows Toots to a ritualistic party of sorts at a bonfire where they are dancing, they're doing the lambada and slicing open the neck of a chicken and pouring blood all over them, and then doing it. Reminds me a lot of the club scene in Jacob's Ladder. There's just a lot of...
Yeah, I've heard several comparisons of this film to Jacob's Ladder, and that would definitely be one of them.
Yeah, a lot of weird shit going on. So Mickey Rourke's like, okay, he's a fucking liar. Like, she's a liar, he's a liar. Everybody knows everybody in this town. So he goes to Toots's flat, I guess, and beats him senseless. And he's like, if you come up with anything, you give me a call, and shoves his phone number in his mouth and then walks away. The next morning, we get Tweedledee and Tweedledum with the Southern accent, super, super racist Louisiana white cops. And they are investigating a murder because last night, after Harry Angel decided to go home, Toots got his dick cut off and shoved in his mouth. So he was asphyxiated on his own genitalia, as they said. So he's like, well, I don't know anything about this. And so he says, well, who hired you? And he's like, Winesap and whatever. And he's like, it's in my book, under W for Winesap. So they are going to conduct their own investigation, basically.
Yeah,
but they don't like him.
Looking cops too. They ain't chasing nobody.
No, holy crap, that one dude, big fucking dude. Yeah, so they basically don't trust him, don't like him, don't want him in their town. They don't want his Yankee stank.
And don't leave town for a few days till we figure all this shit out.
Usual, don't leave town. So he goes to Margaret Kuzmark's apartment, and she has been stabbed to death with a ritualistic dagger. And she is just laying in the middle of the floor.
Hollowed the fuck out, too. Yeah. Like, she's, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So not only has she been stabbed to death, but they carved out her heart.
Yeah, she's missing organs.
Yeah, it's like everywhere he goes, people are dying.
Yeah. It's what? It's wild. Oh, my God. So Mickey Rourke's still, dicking around, trying to find stuff. And then, Margaret Kuzmark's daddy, Ethan, who is a very prominent businessman in that Louisiana area, sends his thugs and their doggy out to just attack, Harry and tell him to basically leave town. Basically, we don't want anything to do with you. We don't want you here. Get out. And he's like, decides that he's going to go meet with Louis Cypher in a church. And this is an interesting scene. I like this scene because I like the fact that, Harry reveals a few things about himself. Number one, he's an atheist. And number two, that everywhere he goes, just as you guys have said this, everywhere he goes, people end up dead. He thinks that he's taken the fall for this, and he does. He thinks that he's being framed.
Yeah, he's being set up, and I'm fucking terrified.
He's being set up. He's fucking terrified, and he's upset. And it doesn't matter how much you're paying me. I don't want to do this, and And then he swears in the church, and Louis like puts his hand over his mouth, and he's like, we're in a church. Such a great scene. Anyway, Harry decides apparently he's gonna keep going. Like there's several bodies under him, and yet he is going to keep going because he absolutely has to find out who Johnny Favorite is, what happened to him. So he goes back to his hotel, and oh God, have us all. Okay. He goes back to his hotel, and Denise Huxtable is sitting on in front of his hotel room in the rain. So of course she's all, titties. And he takes her into his hotel room, and they talk for a little bit. And she talks about, she says, yes, I do know Johnny Favorite. He is my father, or he was my father. And that her mom once told her that he was the closest thing to evil that she'd ever seen. So, and then, Harry asks her how old she is. This probably would have been information that you could have gotten back in the, I can see through your top wet t-shirt situation we had going on at the gravesite. But he waits till this moment to ask her how old she is, and she says 17.
Which I believe is above the age of consent in Louisiana. So
I guess so. Doesn't make it right, Russell Brand. Doesn't make it fucking right. Just saying. Anyway, so he says, well, who's the baby's daddy? And she's like, I don't remember. And he's like, well, I'm really sorry. And she goes, I'm not. He was the best fuck of my life. And then Mickey Rourke's like, so he starts dancing with her. Then they start having sex. Then the sex turns into this very strange, very bloody, very violent, very violent sex scene, where he almost kills her during sex, like almost like chokes her out during sex, but stop short of it. but stop short of it. So the next day he gets up, she's taking a bath, and he's like, yeah, see you later. I gotta go investigate more. Goes to meet Ethan Kuzmark over at the dog track or the horse track. I can't remember. And and he tells him, he's like, what, why are you here? Like, why are you here? Why are you asking about my daughter? Why are you doing any of this stuff? And he, takes him into the gumbo shack, which is a real thing. And he's stirring the world's largest cauldron. Thank you, honey. A cauldron of gumbo.
Yeah, I used to make French onion soup. It's a big cauldron, and you have like a boat oar, and you stir this stuff with it. When I was a saucier, so yeah, I felt that shit.
So he's talking to Ethan, and Ethan is this very like boss hog, kind of character. Like he's wearing like a white suit. He's very well dressed, very well spoken. And then Ethan takes a turn to Crazy Town because he starts talking about, first he kind of talks about how Margaret was always a weird kid. She was always a weird kid. She was into tarot cards before she knew how to read. She was into, the dark arts, just different things. And then Harry is fed up at this point and starts to just like shake the shit out of him. Like he wants to know more, and he's like, I think you did it. I think you introduced her to the black magic. Right. And Yeah, and then Ethan goes, woohoo. He starts talking about how he was the one, him and Margaret were the ones who went and picked up Johnny from the hospital. Johnny was a brilliant occultist who could conjure up Lucifer in the living room. and how he says something very interesting, which is very timely in a lot of ways. And what he says is the Prince of Darkness protects the prominent, and which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of a reverse, the Lord helps those who help themselves,
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't even think about that. But so he tells him essentially that Johnny Favorite was this huge satanic cult dude and liked to do satanic rituals and made a deal with the devil for his soul in exchange for his career.
Yes, another Faustian bargain.
Right. A Faustian bargain. Decided in the middle of the deal that he wanted to renege on it. And instead of giving him his soul, he was going to kidnap a soldier, take him back to his apartment with Margaret and Toots, and they were going to bind the naked guy to a mattress, carve out his heart, and he was going to eat it and then assume his identity. However, Johnny ended up getting, I don't know if he got drafted or what it was, but he ended up getting sent to the service. He got a shell shock injury, ended up in the hospital with reconstructive surgery, had no idea who the fuck he was. So Margaret and Ethan picked him up, and then dropped him off in Times Square because he was just useless at this point. So at this point, Harry Angel's like, who is the boy? This is Mickey Rourke's Oscar moment, right? Like, he's just like smashing mirrors and shit. Doors are slamming. He comes back
and it
into
felt
the
like a
room.
little bit of a red herring. It's like, oh shit, is he the boy? Like, is it him? Like, is he, what has he discovered? And it's like, things get really dark for a second. So it was chilling.
It was really chilling. And then so then he comes back, and Ethan is like face down in a pile of gumbo. So he's dead, and he's like, oh shit. He's like, oh my God, these people keep dying. What am I gonna do? So I like the fact that everybody's living these, like you said, everyone's living this like dual existence, right? Like Ethan Kuzmark is this prominent businessman, but he's also a fucking lunatic who worships Satan. And Margaret Kuzmark, a debutante, who is also, Madame Zora, the fortune teller. So Harry Angel's about to find out exactly who his alter ego is. He goes back to Margaret Kuzmark's house because Ethan has told him, because he's like, who is the boy? Who is the boy? He goes, I don't know. Margaret took the dog tags off the soldier, and she put them inside a vase and sealed it. So he goes back to Margaret's apartment, takes the vase, smashes it, and reads the dog tags. And the dog tags say Harry Angel, i.e., he has been looking for himself the entire time. Harry Angel is Johnny Favorite. So this scene, I like this scene a lot. And this is where he kind of turns around and, De Niro's got the locks. He's got the locks down, he's got the crazy black hair. And he basically tells him, he's like, yeah, he goes, hello, Johnny. And, and Harry is like, I'm not Johnny. I don't know what you're talking about. You think because you scared, a fortune teller and a blues player into thinking that you're the devil, that I'm going to believe that you're the devil. And, and he's just like, no, he goes, you killed them all. And he's like, nope, just did. And then I love this scene because De Niro grabs a record. This song that we keep hearing continuously in the film. which is one of Johnny Favorite's songs. And he puts this record on and he says, remember. And then we see this amazing montage of all of the murders and Harry doing it with just glee. Just fucking like the scene where he is clearly cutting off Toot Sweet's dick. He's got a razor in one hand and a cigarette in the other, and he's just excitedly, happily hacking away. So he
Well, and
sees
this
all
scene
this.
also is where we get our big Nilbog is goblin spelled backwards
Yeah,
reveal.
Louis,
Yeah.
exactly. Louis Cypher or Lucifer. Yeah,
Bum, bum, bum.
yeah, I know. Yeah, so right. So he realizes now, okay, so this is controversial because some people say that the devil is who went back to the hotel. Because if you notice, De Niro grabs the gun. He picks the gun up. He has like his little finger on the gun. And he also, I think, with his weird psycho nails, picks up the dog tags. So, and then when when Harry goes to the hotel, he sees De Niro dressed as the lady in black sitting outside, and then he disappears. I think that De Niro, I think the devil went back to the hotel room and killed Epiphany and left the baby because the baby is his baby. That's Satan's baby.
Yeah, and that makes sense because of the eyes.
Because of the eyes. Yes, there's a scene where De Niro has the crazy, Michael Jackson Thriller eyes.
Which then gives it a apocalyptic bent, if you consider the child of Satan as the Antichrist. So
Yeah. And then anyway, so Harry Angel goes inside and Epiphany is spread eagle under a sheet, thank God, with a big pool of blood around her vajayjay, and his dog tags wrapped around her neck. And the two, chunky cops are there and they're like, who's that? And he's like, my daughter. And they're like, and he's like, she was staying here for a little while. And he's like, is that your gun up her snatch? And I was just, that there with till he said that. And then I was like mortified. And then the other cop comes out with the baby and the baby's eyes glow, letting you know that De Niro was the dad of the baby. And then they say to him, you're going to burn for this. And he said, in hell. And then the last scene of the movie essentially is him over the credits, which I love.
Yes, I love post-credits stuff like this.
Yes.
Martin is one of my favorite.
Descending into hell in this freight elevator. And I love this. I love the visuals in this movie. I love Alan Parker and I love the stuff that he does. And the visuals in this movie really stick with you. And you have been watching Angel Heart 1987, folks.
That went out of clip. No, that was amazing. So let's do the scared shit list.
You will be scared shitless.
And for me, it's the devil. Okay, yes, I do have a religious background, and damnation bothers me to this day, even though I'm a staunch atheist at this point in my life. Still, the idea of having to live my worst sins over and over for eternity in my own head really bothers me. So yeah, the devil, the ending, the damnation. I actually ran this through ChatGPT. I said, give me Angel Heart from an atheist perspective and take out all the woo-woo. What do you come up with? And it's essentially my worst nightmare, which is realizing that everything that has gone wrong in my life is absolutely my fault, and I have nobody to blame but myself, and hell is a door that's locked from the inside. So yeah, that was the scared shit list for me.
I love the visuals in this film, and I think probably one of the scariest ones is the elevator just going down to hell, and just not knowing what is at the end of that. And if you watch the credits all the way through, The very last scene is him stepping off of the elevator and the devil saying Johnny and then saying Harry, as in now they have become one and now he has his soul. So that was definitely pretty scary as a kid. So as a kid, I used to own Fangoria magazine, and there is a deleted death scene that is in Fangoria magazine, which is when Winesap, the lawyer, gets thrown into a so it's a really violent death. And you see when you do the flashback montage of all the murders.
Wait, what does he get thrown into? You broke up for a second.
He gets thrown into a fan.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh, and there's so many fans in the movie.
And there's so many
with
fans
the
in the
cyclical
movie.
symbolism. Yes.
Right, like the whole, the evil winds are turning.
Every time Mickey Rourke walks into a room, pay attention to the fan because they stop spinning and then start spinning the opposite way. Happens every fucking scene in the movie.
Yeah. So during the flashback montage with all the murders, you very briefly see him about to toss Winesap into the fan. And there was, like I said, there was one issue of Fangoria where Alan Parker was posing next to the headless corpse of Winesap because that's what happened. So that used to scare the shit out of me when I saw that. But yeah, the idea, just exactly what Sim said, the idea that all your hell is of your own making, and your hell is based on all of these things that you have done, is what you have to live with, right? It's what you continuously have to live with that you can't possibly make amends for because those people are dead. So, I mean, you think about it, like probably the worst possible thing someone could do is fuck their daughter, right? So like he fucked his daughter. So that's fucking horrifying. He has to live with that. And then live with the fact that he's murdered all of these people in these
including his daughter. Yeah.
And including his daughter. It's grotesque ways. So yeah, I feel like and so the theory that I alluded to in the beginning of the movie was that the parishioner had made a Faustian pact as well and reneged on the pact, and that they killed him. So he was like the same Johnny Favorite type deal basically, and that's why he was dead. But that's my fear. Those are the things I found scary about the movie.
Hey. The thing I found scary about the movie is the fact that he's killing people and he doesn't realize he's killing people, because the whole set of beliefs in this movie is that's just it. They're beliefs. If you don't believe in this stuff, you have zero fear of it and you're not even affected by it. That's how I am with this type of stuff. I think that's why I find it fascinating, but it's extremely harmless to me. You know what I mean? Because I give it no credence. I give it no backbone or anything. But to me, that's the scariest thing. He's literally slicing people up Jack the Ripper style. And then he leaves the room, comes back into the room, and has no idea what he just did. It's pretty gnarly. To me, that's terrifying. That's very scary that you can lose control, time, memory, whatever, to where you're Jack
it's
the
similar
Ripper for
to what
30
makes
seconds.
the Wolfman scary,
Yeah, because you're not in control of that version of yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. That's what's scary.
All right, well, we need to rate this movie, and I would like to go first because I'm excited to rate this film. I said it was clunky at the beginning, and I'll stand by that, okay? I did have a hard time following exactly what he was supposed to be doing, where he was at, who he was talking to, but that's by design. And this has many of those Cronenberg, Lynchian qualities to it, where
Yeah.
I think
it's very imagery heavy, which
Yes.
kicks it up so many notches in the horror category. And so it's like a nightmare, and very effective. It's iconic. I knew about it, even though I never sat down and watched the whole thing, knew all about it. Watched that egg scene, I don't know how many times before I finally got around to watching the movie. And It's fucking scary. I didn't expect it to be, which is why I never watched it. I thought, oh, it's a detective movie. It's just De Niro playing himself, like Slink said, as usual. But it's so much more than that, and I have to give credit to the director for creating a pretty unique film. But he was, I would say, a master of the craft. I mean, he was using old school techniques like the voice of Cypher as Angel is traveling. He's remembering what he said. That's very 1950s, early 60s technique. Again, the symbolism of fans and blood and chickens and voodoo and all the things, just so effective. So as a work of art, alone, I would give it 4.5 stars, but then also it is part of our culture as well. So an easy 4.5 stars for me.
I will definitely, I'm gonna go give it 4.5 because yeah, we were talking about the fact that yes, it does, it has a slow start. It is a little bit of a slow starter, but Slink pointed out, which I really like that you pointed this out because I didn't even think about this, is that I think it's a slow start to lull you into a false sense of thinking that this is just a detective movie.
Yeah, the movie's very disorienting, and when you were giving it your rating, that's when I said it. I was like, it's done on purpose, totally done on purpose to fucking.
And that's interesting, yeah, because that's a great way of looking at it. Is that's how it is, and that's how it's done. Yeah, 4.5. Love the gore. Love the
4.5 what, Aaron? Come on.
Oh, I got it. Okay. 4.5 severed blues artist penises.
4.5 blues severed cocks. I'm gonna go 4 because it's a solid fucking movie. I'm gonna go 4 guns and snatches because it's a solid flick,
Wow.
man. It looks really good. It's fucking the music's really good. The little bit of music you hear in it is really good. It's wild, dude. Hey, spoilers, kids, watch the movie. But like it's because I don't like De Niro or Mickey Rourke. But it's awesome. It's an awesome fucking movie. Yeah, I was gonna say that before and I forgot. I forgot what it was.
Well, it's got the Witchboard chick in it. I mean, when I saw her, I was
she's
like,
awesome,
wow,
man.
who's
And
that?
like
I
I
know
got
her from
excited
something.
when she showed up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like nudged Aaron. I was like, oh fuck, look at that. So yeah, no, it's a solid movie, man. Yeah.
I think that they probably could have done this with a different leading actor.
Absolutely.
I think they probably could have done this with like Gary Oldman, for instance. Especially Gary Oldman in the 80s because he was a little bit more understated than say Gary Oldman later. But like that's who I would kind of see because he is such a brilliant actor and he is very good at emoting.
Yeah.
And where
Yeah, I would have liked more confusion, more distress, more,
yeah, the first like
upsettedness for more.
45
Yeah.
yeah, the first 45 minutes of this movie really are Mickey Rourke reacting to things. And reacting in a very kind of like I'm from Brooklyn and these people are weird and I'm not into this shit, and like whatever. And I like my broads to be young, clearly. Yeah, but like I think that we probably could have done a different acting. We could have gotten a different actor for that. Alas. But I love it.
Right.
I don't care.
Well, so we are 4 stars plus across the board, or on average rather. So yeah, another great, actually scary film. I would definitely recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it or who hasn't watched it in a long time. Again, for the imagery alone, it's just a gorgeous film, and there's a lot of attention to detail and craft involved. Liminal spaces, shadows. Sling brought up the score. It is not a lot like your classical movie score. It's not like that. It's very mood music. It's a lot of like heartbeats and percussion and things like that. So, and of course, saxophones, right?
Oh yeah, the sleazy sax. To me, my favorite thing of the movie, and you said this earlier, like it just recently I found another taste that I really like, and it's that Southern Gothic setting. If the devil hangs out in the United States anywhere, it's going to be in fucking Louisiana. So I love that idea. Like you see the decay, you see the rundownness, like you said, liminal spaces. There's a lot of shots of cars going over bridges, which is really fucking cool because we live in Florida and there's areas here that's how it is, man. It's when you're close to the coast, you live on a canal and you constantly cross these things. So it's kind of like you get a taste of home when you watch this stuff. But yeah, the setting for me, I love it, man. All the Spanish moss hanging from the trees and shit. It's really spooky stuff. And again, it's in the bright sunlight and it's still terrifying.
Yeah, and that's
Mm.
hard to pull off, but when it works really well. You know, The Wicker Man, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Midsommar. You know, there's some good sunny day horror films out there, and I would include this among them for sure. I listen, I get that you don't like De Niro, but I've watched a lot of De Niro movies, okay? And I have to agree with the general consensus of De Niro fans that this is one of his better performances because it
I
is
believe that.
so understated. He doesn't put on the whole smug, you know, stuff that he later
Yeah,
became
but
famous
he does
for.
it so much that when he doesn't, you don't care.
Right.
To me, that's my feeling about
No,
it. I got
I
a thing
feel
with
you there.
actors, man. I got a thing with actors. You know.
He has some great lines too. The slugs leave slime bit, you know, the part about when he's in the church and he's talking about how there's just enough religion in the world to make men hate, but not enough to make them love or
Men
something like that.
love.
It's
Yep.
like that's some good shit, you know. That's if you're gonna play the devil, you need some lines like that.
Yeah.
Um,
You can sneak up on a mirror as many times as you want, but your reflection will still stare back at you. I'm paraphrasing, but that
Yeah,
is
no,
one of the
good
lines.
stuff. So whoever wrote the film, you mentioned him at the beginning, and it wasn't you. No, it was, oh gosh, I watched a video like right before
Somebody on the
this.
internet.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote it is an excellent writer, and they've written other good stuff. So I need to look it up and watch his other films. But yeah, just an excellent film. What are we doing next week? Oh yeah, we're doing Adam
It's
Marcus next week. Okay,
Adam Marcus. We're
but
doing
then.
Adam Marcus next week.
Yes. Then we're doing Slinky's movie. Now, what did you pick last week?
We are still here
Yes. Are
from
you still feeling that for
2015.
2 weeks
Yeah,
from now?
absolutely, man. I watched
Okay.
it the other day again. Like I
Excellent.
love it. So,
All right.
and
So
I have
yeah,
a
some
couple funny stories about it.
exciting stuff coming up. We still have, we're still growing. Even though we've missed a couple of weeks, we're still growing our listenership. We have a lot more activity on the Facebook page. So,
Really?
I'm not sure when we'll end season 2 because things are going so well, but I'd like to at least make it up to the summer if we can. So,
Chicken.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
all right. Well, till next time, stay shitless.